I'll never forget the night everything turned upside down, the night I was standing in someone else's mansion, wearing my one good red dress, holding a silver tray like some hired help, while a woman with too many diamonds on her neck sneered at me. "Know your place, darling." The crowd laughed, and I remember my hands shaking so badly the champagne nearly spilled. My cheeks burned. My chest felt like it was caving in, and just when I thought it couldn't get worse, those tall oak doors slammed open, and my husband walked in like he owned the entire city. But let me take you back to how I even ended up in that mess. That evening was supposed to be a celebration, my little sister's engagement. Her fiancé's family was old money, the kind of people who judged you by the cut of your suit or the label on your shoes. I didn't fit their world, and I knew it. The only thing hanging in my closet worth wearing was this simple red gown I'd bought off a clearance rack 2 years earlier. It wasn't designer, it wasn't fancy, but it was mine. And when I looked in the mirror, it made me feel like I could belong even for just one night. Before I left, my husband kissed my forehead and whispered, "Don't let them make you feel small. You're worth more than all of them combined." I laughed it off, easy words when you didn't have to walk into enemy territory. He told me he couldn't come because of work. His schedule was always unpredictable, and though I wanted him there, I told myself I'd be fine. When I pulled up to the Parker estate, marble pillars, crystal chandeliers glowing through floor-to-ceiling windows, I already felt like an intruder. Valets in tuxedos, open car doors for people stepping out of Bentleys and Maseratis. My old sedan looked like a delivery truck parked among them. I tried to steady my hands, held my head high, and walked up the grand steps. The first face I saw inside was Margaret Parker, my sister's soon-to-be mother-in-law. She had that smile people wear when they want to remind you you're beneath them. Standing beside her were her polished friends, Veronica and Elise, the type of women who get photographed at charity events and talk about giving back while treating their housekeepers like shadows. Margaret's eyes swept over my dress and paused just long enough for me to know she disapproved. Then Anna, my sister, glided up in her glittering gown. She looked radiant, but when her eyes met mine, something flickered. Was it embarrassment? Shame? Instead of hugging me like she always did, she quickly introduced me. "This is my sister Claire," she said, her voice small, as though saying my name too loud might taint the air. "Charming," Veronica murmured, eyes sharp. We didn't know Anna's sister would be helping with service tonight. "Service?" I repeated, confused. Margaret's voice cut in smooth but commanding. "Yes. Since you're here and dressed so practically you can help pass drinks. The staff is a bit overwhelmed." The room spun. "I'm a guest," I stammered. "I'm here for my sister's engagement." They exchanged knowing glances, lips twitching into cruel smiles. Elise let out a laugh like glass shattering. "Look at that dress. This is probably the kindest thing we could do, give her something useful to do." I looked at Anna, desperate for her to defend me, to say no. She's my sister, she belongs here. But she said nothing. She stared at the floor, and that silence cut deeper than any insult. Before I knew it, a white apron was tied around my waist over my red dress. Guests turned to stare, whispering, "Why is Anna's sister serving drinks? How humiliating." And then Anna's fiancé, Blake, appeared smirking. "So this is the unsuccessful one. Guess we're seeing it firsthand." Anna forced a brittle laugh and whispered loud enough for me to hear, "She's always been like this, never quite able to keep up." My own sister. The girl I'd sacrificed for defended carried through heartbreaks, handing me over to wolves to save face. For the next hour, I wandered the mansion with trays of champagne. People reached across me, spilled drinks without apology, made me crawl on my knees to wipe marble floors. Margaret ordered me around like I was her personal maid. Veronica filmed me giggling. This is too good. The girls at the club will die when they see this. Then came the breaking point. Margaret clinked a spoon against her glass, calling for attention. 200 faces turned. She slung an arm around me in mock affection and announced, "Ladies and gentlemen, meet Anna's sister Claire, who has volunteered to serve tonight. Tell everyone what you're here to do." My throat locked. My sister's eyes begged me silently to play along. Margaret's voice pressed louder, "Dear. What's your role?" I'm here to serve," I whispered. "And who are you serving?" The words cut my tongue like glass. "I'm serving the Mistress." Applause erupted. People laughed, clapped, nodded approvingly, like it was some grand entertainment. My soul fractured right there. And then just as I thought I couldn't sink lower, they turned their mockery to my husband. "Where's your man tonight?" Elise sneered. "Probably too broke to afford a decent suit." Veronica smirked, or maybe too ashamed to show up. Their laughter rippled through the hall. Knives twisted deeper. That's when it happened. The mansion's massive doors flew open with a thunderous crack that silenced the entire crowd. Heads snapped toward the entrance. Footsteps echoed, measured deliberate. A tall figure in a black tuxedo stepped inside, flanked by two men in suits and a woman clutching a briefcase. It was my husband, but not the man I'd kissed goodbye in our modest apartment. This was someone else, someone commanding, powerful, dangerous. His very presence bent the air. Gasps swept the room. "That's Ryan Carter," someone whispered. "The tech billionaire," another voice murmured. "He owns half the skyline." I was still on my knees, scrubbing wine from a rug apron twisted over my stained dress. He saw me, and his expression shifted into something terrifying, cold fury burning with love. His voice sliced through the silence. "Nobody humiliates my wife." The words struck like a gavel. Carmen's phone clattered to the floor. Elise's glass shattered. Margaret went pale, lips trembling. Ryan walked straight to me, gently removed the apron from my waist, lifted me to my feet as though I'd been made of glass. He never looked away from Margaret. "So, this is what you do for fun," he said quietly, his voice carrying like thunder. "You humiliate women because you think they're beneath you." Margaret stumbled. "Mr. Carter, we didn't know she was your wife. And if you had Ryan snapped, you'd have treated her with basic human decency. The fact that you think respect depends on a bank account tells me everything I need to know about you." Anna rushed forward, tears streaking her cheeks. "Ryan, I can explain. I wanted to test them to see if they'd accept Claire without knowing who you were. You fed your own sister to wolves." Ryan cut her off, his voice like ice. "You wanted a test. You got your answer." Then he turned to the crowd. "Allow me to reintroduce her. This is Claire Carter, CEO of the Carter Foundation, controlling billions in charitable giving. She decides who gets help, which causes live or die. She has more worth in her kindness than any of you will ever have in your fortunes." Gasps echoed. Eyes widened. And Ryan wasn't done. "As of tonight, Carter Industries is withdrawing every cent from Parker Development, the downtown contracts, the resort projects, the startup funding. Consider yourselves finished." Blake's face drained of color. "You can't watch me," Ryan replied. Veronica and Elise, still clutching their phones, tried to protest, but Ryan's assistant stepped forward. "We've already retrieved the videos from your cloud accounts. Filming someone for humiliation is harassment. Our legal team will be in touch." Margaret fell to her knees, the very posture she had forced me into hours earlier. "Please, I'll apologize. I'll donate. You'll learn what it feels like to be powerless," Ryan said calmly. He nodded to security. "Escort them out. They're finished here." The crowd parted as the women were dragged away. Ryan squeezed my hand, and together, we walked toward the doors. Whispers followed fearful awed. Just before leaving, Ryan turned back one last time. "Let this be a lesson," he said. "The next time you're tempted to belittle someone you think is beneath you, remember tonight. You never really know who you're dealing with." Out in the night air, I finally breathed again. "Why didn't you tell me who you really were?" I whispered. "Because I wanted you to love me. For me," he said softly. "And I wanted to see how they treated you when they thought you were nobody." I laughed through tears. "Next time you want to test someone's character, maybe just ask them tough questions over dinner." He chuckled, pulling me close. "Deal." Months later, I heard Margaret had lost her mansion working a front desk just to survive. She sent me a handwritten letter, an apology, a confession she finally understood what it meant to feel powerless. I didn't mention that Ryan quietly paid her son's college tuition. Some kindness is better left unspoken. As for Anna, her engagement collapsed. Turns out when the Parkers lost their money, Blake lost interest. She called me crying, begging for forgiveness. We're trying to mend what's broken, but trust once shattered takes time. Now, sometimes I still wear that red dress, but it hangs inside a closet the size of my old apartment. Our penthouse is breathtaking, but the most beautiful spot is the little reading nook where Ryan and I sit together planning which charities to support next. And here's what I know now: money doesn't define you. Character does. And character is what you cling to when everything else is stripped away. Margaret thought she could crush me. She had no idea who she was messing with. So tell me, what do you think? Should people like Margaret be forgiven once they've lost everything? Or do they deserve to live with the same humiliation they dished out? I want to hear your thoughts, because nights like that reveal more about society than any fortune ever could.